On April 17th, 2011, the record for the closest NASCAR race happened at Talladega Speedway during the Aaron's 499 race, where Jimmy Johnson won by .002, less than 1 inch. Here's the story behind this photo finish today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Now, the Aaron's 499 happens at Talladega Speedway, one of 6 superspeedways that NASCAR runs. Now, what makes it a speedway is the 4 turns and the degrees at which the racetrack is banked. See, Talladega at the straightaways is banked 16 degrees and over 30 degrees on its turns, making for a faster race. And Talladega can fit over 140,000 people, which is another reason it's known as a super speedway. Now, the reason it was built was actually because Bill Francis wanted to build a faster track than Daytona, and the only place he could find was somewhere in between Birmingham and Atlanta, and they finally got it all finished in 1969, costing $4 million, which would be about $33 million today. And Talladega actually holds the record for the fastest speed by NASCAR on an oval course at 216 miles an hour, set by Rusty Wallace in 2004. Which is crazy to think this happened due to what happened in 1987, when Bobby Allison was racing and contacted debris on the course from another blown engine, cutting his right rear tire and sent him flying through the air for over 100 feet into the catching fence that protected the spectators, but didn't stop debris from hitting spectators and causing them all to run in fear. Luckily, no one was injured in this wreck, but it showed that they were going too fast, and with the embankments so high, they needed to limit the speeds. And that's when they introduced restrictor plates. What this did was limit the speed you could run by reducing airflow into the engine. And this changed how the racing was done, as a lot of times you saw before then, the racers would get spread out during the race. But this made team racing more popular. Many racers are part of a team that puts together the cars. They work together during these races to bump draft, which means they are very close, including bumping each other from time to time, where one car is so close behind the other car, it is actually pushing the front car, and that front car is pulling the back car, creating a larger draft and making them go faster together. It's a unique thing to watch, and it also makes for some exciting races, and that's exactly what happened at the Aaron 499 in 2011. Now, this was just the 8th race of the season, and it was a beautiful day outside. And in the front row to start the race was Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. And Jimmy Johnson had his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jeff Gordon had his teammate Mark Martin, joining them as drafting partners for the entire race. And just behind them was Clint Bauer and Michael Waltrip, another racing duo that would join for this final run. Now, this was a regular race. They had multiple cautions. Over 6 caution flags happened throughout the race. And Clint Bauer ended up having the most lead laps at just 38, which isn't a lot for a race that only had 188 laps. And due to this, no one really got a huge lead during the race. They would go back and forth with all the caution flags and all the pit stops. But as we come closer to the end of the race, 8 cars actually end up being very, very close to each other. So Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are teamed up as one group, Clint Bauer and Kevin Harvick in another group, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin in another group, and Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle were all competing for a win. And after another caution flag on lap 185, they all came out, which finally opened up on that final lap when they laid the white flag, which is waved to signify the pairing of Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin overtook Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle for the lead, but it wasn't by much. One thing to remember about Talladega is it's one of the widest tracks there is, and you are able to go 4 wide, and that's exactly what happened after they took that final turn to head to the finish line, as these 4 pairings were neck and neck, 4 wide. It was so close that Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon were being pushed almost into the infield. But as they came up to the finish line with that checker flag waving, it was a complete photo finish. In real time, you could not tell who won. It looked like Jimmy Johnson with Dale Earnhardt pushing him and Clint Bauer with Kevin Harvick pushing him had actually tied. But with the photo finish coming, it showed that Johnson had won by 1 inch, which equaled 0.002 seconds. And the top 8 all finished in under 2 car lengths, as they all were teamed up, and it was an amazing final photo finish. It is so close that unless you have a zoomed up shot, you may not even be able to tell who actually won. And it's all because of this restrictor plate racing, that this was so close. It creates an excitement and a different feel to these races. And to give you an idea of how much of a winning margin does a car usually win by in NASCAR, it actually equals about 1 second of margin, which is 500 times larger than this one race. It was a crazy finish, and one that will always be remembered, and a reason why NASCAR has gotten so exciting and so big over the years. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have a topic that you would love for us to talk about, please contact us. Send us an email at dailysportshistory@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and the ideas you have for the show, or any other tips that you might want, or just to tell me that this is awesome, keep doing it, because I love to see those as well. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.